course it's doing that right now. Wow, what a day. What a day. There is a lot going on. It's Chestia, Christy, Lord have mercy. I want to, last night, it's so funny when I come on this application and I know that even behind this channel, they're running, at least on my channel, a set of sleep codes. So I command those be deleted now. We no longer have time for this crap because we're blowing the socks off this sucker right now. It's why I am on here. I am doing my best to set up everything. This is Chastia. And we're going to talk about a few things tonight. I don't know about y'all because I'm sorry if I'm moving. There's even probably a reason that I'm doing this. And this has all happened like this because of the alchemy that we're doing up in everywhere right now as this Delta Gate blew. Now I took a deep breath, a real deep breath right before I got on here because I got a list of things on my board that I need to talk about. Some we haven't talked about before. About some truths that need to come out and evidently need to be stated about Sir Donald Trump at this time, but only because of what time it is. I'm asking right now that the ancestors and that what story needs to be delivered right now today on November 4th, 2023 at 7:40 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is 110:20. Connect. We got a lot of waterway tunnel stuff going on down here in the southern hemispheres right now. So if you are like me and all of us on YouTube, man, I tell you what YouTube got that TikTok doesn't. A bunch of powerhouse spiritual beings. So let's hold hands right now and let's plant our feet firmly. Let's take a deep breath. One more. Say wings up. Woo! I don't know if you feel that rushing through your legs right now. Where I'm guided to start is how my day woke up, because I exited with you guys last night, and now when I go back and watch that video, it's going to trip my lights fantastic which is how it works, right? Why I said the things I did the way I said them. Y'all know that I'm gridded down here in Crossroads, Texas, Little Elm, Texas, which is right outside Frisco. Now, Frisco, Texas wasn't a big deal even in 2005 when I first moved here to Texas, but there's a reason it became a big deal. It's a reason it got so close to the crossroads, and this story goes back so long, but in my world it started in 1971. I'm not going to get into my childhood. A lot of y'all know that part, and we can go back and go through that. But I will say, for those who don't know, I was an adopted, assigned baby. And I was in a program until 2017 when I got shock activated in my backyard for this that's happening right now. Now the journey that I've been on in order to get out of this spell that just broke this morning, y'all. That was the base route of your presidential, the Mason-Dixon line. We're talking about the reason the Confederate War was fought. We're talking about every single gate, energetic hold that was in the United States of America. Because it was all based on your original DNA roots and your energetics and your family lines from being from here. Remember that every single DNA count goes in the ground, or it went into cremation, but there was so much spiritual and phonetic and Babylonian and so much. I mean, we don't know, but maybe, I mean, y'all know how much I know, and I don't even know half. But what just happened on this realm, because I won't even say this planet right now, what's happening on this realm is that we broke the delta. Because it was all based on a Mar-Lago, Del Largo spell that was hinging Florida to Texas with some ancient Egyptian artifacts and ancient Egyptian stuff that was all down here in Tejas that most people didn't know about, including myself. And not really until the past 2 months have I figured that part out with the rest of the collective, because we were so sedated. So sedated in the sediments. And who needs to be here is here. So thank you for being here, whoever you are. I woke up this morning. Well, I didn't even wake up this morning. I talked to you guys, and then I went to sleep last night or this morning, and couldn't go to sleep till after 3 o'clock, which has been what's been in my world the past couple of days. And then if you're on Star Crew or Ascended, you know, we take turns, because one of us is always going to be conscious whenever some shit's fixing to go down. And like I said last night, whenever you're breaking these curses and you're breaking these spells, you see things, and it happens in out of time for us because we were breaking etheric holds. And last night I was talking to you guys and telling you, you know, that's why I'm not moving around a whole lot right now, because whenever you're a spell breaker, whenever you're the one that it's all been done to, but then you have the power to change that, it lines up on you, stacks up on you, stacks up on you. You source the power from it, and then whenever the actual act of the spell, in this case, is what I believe happened. The actual act of the spell happens, meaning the collective has already, us ascended collective that went through tribulation, have already lived through and alchemized and undone any type of black magic that was sent to us, because basically we had 4 years at a time. Is what it ended up happening for us to be able to do it. But this morning or this afternoon, when I wake up, and in my world, especially, and whenever you're clearing and you're really, 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 really clear in your energy, and you're writing and you're doing what we do, then everything you see, there's a reason. And you will see everything you need to see. In fact, I mean, I've had my mummy pop up on my phone. Basically, the mermaid body of who I knew was my twin in the mermaid dimension 2018 just popped up on my phone. I didn't even go looking for it. If you need to see it because you broke it, you'll see it. It will come to you, because in the vector reality that we're in, and the codes that a seed has, and now the codes and connections that the seeds have, because it just changed again. Either for the good or for the bad. Either you lost your connection fully, peace out, or you are freaking connected. And now you're getting a bunch of information, and a bunch of things are coming to light. And so when I woke up this morning, the first thing I saw was a video that, well, first of all, before I went to sleep last night, right after I hung up with you, I pulled up the Lasco. And this is what was on there. Now, I did not put those white and black boxes on there. I did not put these white and black boxes. There's a black one right here. There's a white one right here. And we had this explosion that came off like a big circle right there. Just like I said that we looped Polis because I jumped up through there. Because we've rebirthed Jupiter. That hasn't even got here yet. This is just starting. This is just starting. The 17th is whenever we birthed Jupiter. But we broke this Delta Gate, and I don't know. We are cosmic surfing, and I'm on here to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. So this is, see how that opened up like a ring? Well, this is the full pole shift. This is Polis right here. And you can basically think Gemini, and that's that Betelgeuse. Brown. This one right here, this deep brown. Brown and orange. Brown and orange. That's the Betelgeuse. That's Polaris. That's where everything was hinged down in Gemini. Well, me talking about Texas to Florida and Gemini, we be talking about the same thing. FYI. Now we know. And we're fixing to find out some more. So this is what, but my point right here is, look at that we blew open. Now I knew that we blew the G core. I knew that we lined it up, what was it, 2 or 3 days ago, because I told y'all that I made that connection. Well, that's what's still coming in. We are under a geostorm right now. It came in 24 hours early than they normally do. Normally it takes 3 days for it to get here, is less than 2. Everything is speeding up. It's another reason that I'm on here right now. Another reason is just to be here energetically and for us to exchange energy, because I know what my frequency is as we're going through this and balance out, and everybody that's supposed to be at this party is going to be here, because there's going to be some stuff we're going to talk about. We might be here a minute. So those black and white boxes form. Well, that's what I've been talking about. That's what lined up last night when I was like, oh, in the chart, because it's freaking. That is what lined up last night whenever I was talking to y'all over here on live. This is what I was talking about, those 2 diamonds that lined up. Well, that's a portal, baby. And then that's also 2 consciousness shifting, one from Venus, one from Neptune. We talked about this last night. Neptune, Epstein timelines. Well, you can throw Marble Collegiate in there, because evidently they're like the leaders of definitely the Alamo cult. What I'm reading from this and how I'm understanding this, because the day before, I didn't know I was going to go that far back. Yeah, that's when we had, look, boom. That's the sun. And see how this blew off right here? And I told y'all we's coming out. There, the G core right there, it blew. Right? Well, what I saw, see how this side keeps sketching? Well, today, the Lasco sketched in the red. I'm not finding the one that I want to find, but it doesn't matter. Basically, on this side of the wheel over there where Aries is, it blew out from Pisces to, well, because Alpha Draconic Notice 2 goes 12 to 16 degrees. But they got the galaxies Andromeda involved. So we had to go even further out than that, which is how we ended up having to basically rewrite the Andromeda galaxy inside the body and inside the wheel, so that it would close that portal. So it's like it back sucked. What I'm seeing is that it back sucked, because basically there was a portal coming this way where everything was trying to get in, and trust me, you didn't want it in here. And then all of us were inside the planet, inside the core. A lot of us that are your seeds. And we've been in there basically boom, 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 busting out. At the same time, what's happening is those energies are still doing, well, they were still doing the spells and the rituals that now I'm realizing are the stuff that all of us seeds were seeing and experiencing in 2020. Okay? Because we had 4 years. So basically in 2020, all of us and what was going on with this. Now, let me give you, for example, because this is a spell that I know that broke. It was October 31st, 2020. I was here in Little Elm, Texas, 5 miles from the crossroads. Fernando was here. We had already gone to New Orleans for my birthday. And we had already been on, oh shoot, was it 2020 or 2021? Ooh, I'm gonna have to go check. See, the fact that I'm forgetting is interesting, so give me a second. I'm hearing it doesn't matter. Well, 2 timelines. That's my point. So some of y'all, this might have been, wouldn't have started maybe until 2021. Others, it was 2020. Oh, I see. Depending on if you're on if you are 2, 4, 6, 8 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because if you're an odd number, then you're gonna have more 3D codes. You're gonna have more structure. If you're on even codes, then you're more flow base route. So 20 or 2021, it was Halloween night. And we had already done all, I think we had already done all that. We had already went to LA, got kicked out of LA, went to go meet, and like, he had been with me for a while. We had done a lot already, because at that point we were just finishing claiming what we had already broke open. That part. Meaning proving who we were, and so I had to go to the Alamo with Fernando. So I'm saying all of this because all of that happened before this happened. Then Fernando was here. It was October 31st, and my team had already for 2 years been doing, even through the RH negative clearings, had been doing stuff to fix and cut basically the snake. Because what happened was, man, this is crazy. This is going this direction. We used the movie Practical Magic. We had like 30 or 40 of us that were on Marco Polo, and we had already had the RH negative group was already put back that bloodline, and we were connected in as everything was closing in. And we used Practical Magic, and at the part where Nicole Kidman gets in the middle of the circle and then everyone gets around her and they're pulling that entity out of her, we did that on me. And when we did, I know it worked because I was on Marco Polo. I let everybody know what was going on. And then everybody did the same exact thing in their house that we talked about doing. And one of the girls, I think she was in Iowa, heard a snake underneath her couch. She thought it was, and then she was hearing Ghislaine Maxwell talk to her in her head. Fernando had 6 chickens die and attacked by 2 dogs that came out of fucking nowhere. No tags, nothing. These 2 huskies came in and attacked all and killed a bunch of chickens. up in Washington. But we knew at least it wasn't his sister, because that's who they were trying to set up on one of the video games that the teenagers uses, Roblox. They were getting our family seeds children on a Roblox in 2020, like a party. Teenagers, young teenagers, and they were all girls. I remember they were all girls, because they were tying up that energy. So at least we knew when the chickens died that at least it was the chickens. Well, it's Halloween night the year after we had done all of that. And Fernando was here. And then all of a sudden, I'm right here by the bed up here in my room, and I'm on the second floor. And Fernando's in the other room, and all of a sudden I get pulled into a pentagram. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I can't move. I'm standing right here, and all of a sudden I'm in a room, like a dungeon room. I'm on top of, I don't know if it was stone, but it was cold. It was a round table, and it's round. And then I was in it like a star. And then completely surrounded. I was completely surrounded. There must have been, I mean, I said today there was at least 50, but I mean, I was, and they were stacked in there too. They weren't like even in rows. And they had these red hoods on. They had red on. It was deep red. So I don't know anything about the occult's colors, if they've got team colors and make t-shirts and shit, but their colors be deep red. And then all of a sudden, one of them walks up and stabs me right here in my ribs. And then the other one comes up from the left side and slices my boob. Well, see, now that I know that, you know, I was your planet. And I know that, like, I've had to, like, rebirth inside this freaking crazy thing that y'all have, that you say are continents and shit that we're learning. No, they're not. Like, it's nuts right now whenever you're the real Earth and affecting everything, and you're coming up and everyone's going, you're right here, and then you figure out, nope, that's not right. Because you're Earth, which a lot of us are. Especially because we're from the Tudor lines or the Irish lines. Well, hello, boo-boo kitty. That's all of us that were in these sacrifices. And Osteria sacrifices, and, Lord, like, it goes a bunch of different directions when you start talking about that down here with how crazy it was down here. Because then there were hybridized versions and blah, 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 blah. And then it went multiverse. Seriously. And then there were 40,000 Christs. So how many Earths are there? Like, Jesus Lord. Like, here's the good news. There's only 2 now. It's happening right now. Because then I died. I remember Fernando ran in, but I couldn't really communicate with him, but he was witnessing what was happening. And I dropped to the ground and I died. But it wasn't the first time that I had died. But I mean, I stopped breathing. And in the moment where I died from that scene, basically. And then, but I knew how to start my breathing again. So I started my breathing again. Because I was crying. And when I got myself together, because I couldn't move, I got myself together, I did the breathing, and then all of a sudden, I like turned into this white light. And I rose up from that circle, and then I breathed fire. In a complete circle, and boop. No more people in robes. Just robes. So, That's in 2020, y'all. So all that crazy crap that was going on around us now, look, what I'm just now realizing, because I wake up this morning to a reader. First thing I saw when I woke up is a reader that I've been watching for a minute. I know she's tuned in. There's TikTok's got some really good readers that give you fast messages, especially from the shadow side. And she's like, holy crap, who is it that telepathically jumped into their own sacrifice? Because, I mean, that happened in 2020. It's been nuts fucking, I mean, it's been nuts the whole time. I mean, and that nuts, it got nuttier. Just so you know, that wasn't shit. Because what happened was whenever I pulled this out, then it's like, I don't know, I'm still figuring it out. Because we just found out they just did it. They just did it. With everything they knew, with everything they stole, with, I mean, knowing full on well who we were, that we were the damn planet, the cosmos, that we only have, I mean, they still just did it. And yeah, I'm doing that and I don't touch my audience. But it was massive what was going on with Andromeda and with the portal that we had to birth from the inside of the earth, because we birthed the Stargate in fucking hell. We really did. And we blew this side out, and now we are freaking rising as quick as we can. Now, all that being said, I woke up to that first. That the spell, that you had walked in on the spell, you saw them all. She had some details too, because they were showing it to her, because it was like a movie. And the other thing that she brought up that we knew, because one of the girls, many of y'all, thank you, Danielle. Danielle had to help me, protect me, and get him to put my chakra system back together when all this happened, for real. For real. Not just my chakra, but body pieces, everything. What we've been having to do over here to make sure that we get everybody's bodies in would blow your mind. I'm pulling on my ear because that really is what it is, because the way that they had, what all these spell work and what all this is about, they were manipulating my chakra system. And they were attempting to take over my body. But see, I knew, I mean, that's been going on since January 6, 2019, whenever I got the download. I got the download. I've been screaming this. It's why I know all this crap. I got the January 6, 2019 download. Well, guess what that is? That's 3 or 4 fathers in your fucking head fighting for your body. In my world, that's what it was. Because I was a guy. I was Tara. I was Sarah. I was a stupid bitch that went into your planet. And I am. And I was. And I turned into a birch. And then this morning, the second thing that I see with Trump and his fucking masonry is this whoever the John Paul, because I'm not following politics. I know what it is. I refuse to look at it until it's put in front of my face, especially because I know that Trump stole all this from me somehow. Because if they wouldn't have messed with the planet and they wouldn't have done all this, then I would have gone about my merry little life and I would have done my tech deal in 2013. And somebody wouldn't have come and stolen it from me, fucking tried to kill me, did black magic on me, stole everything from me, blacklisted me from the fucking reality codes, blacklisted me from the Matrix, hunted me, had people paid, followed, for the past 3 or 4 years. My whole existence was an acting stage in order to get me to this point so he could do it. Nothing in my world was real. It was all fake. Everybody paid to be there, and the government covering for him. The Air Force running it. But if he wouldn't have messed with me, guess what? We wouldn't know anything about this. But we also wouldn't be showing up tonight telling you that we just blew a hole in the fucking matrix and the cosmos and we're getting the fuck out of here. So I wake up to the second thing that I hear is that this whatever the hell, House Representative whatever the hell, Speaker, they put it out in the world that he's the 45th. Well, Pelosi was the 52nd. So whenever you go look that up, guess what, guys? This was a mind blower. When you go look that up, what you find is that, let me just show it. The president in 1877 was Rutherford Birchard, middle name, Hayes. Hayes County, Harris County, Houston. Birch being my current last name from a marriage, and it's my son's last name, Birch. And as soon as I got engaged with the Birch, I got hit by a car. And the whole thing freaking spun in front of Bill Bank, which was Trump's bank, because it ain't no normal bank. It's owned by Andy Bill, the serial killer that freaking lived in Kingman, Arizona, which is over there in that little freaking gate where all this is going down over there by London Bridge, correct? Because Las Vegas is where the divine feminine comes through the planet. I knew that we were always getting trapped in Vegas, but I've never had to get me out and the entire fucking human race out before until this time. But this time, we had to do it because it's where all the children were. It's where all of your future bodies were. Because everything's connected from the inside out. And the way that they dome this bitch up and they's killing us all the way through, the only way we made it through is being divine fucking beings. (1877) on October 15th, 1877, Samuel J. Randall was the 45th Speaker of the House. Well, that's what they just said and announced. So, what did I tell y'all? They're going to try to take you backwards? Remember? Well, that's where some of them are going back there. In that little black cube down there in Gemini, this is the story that this is what it is. So the timelines are going to be around 1877, but I did have to post my 1895 Maria Orsic chart on Taco last week in order to prepare for it, and it got 6,000 views. Mind you, most of mine only get 20 or 30 because all my shit is so freaking had algorithms and all this shit. Not anymore. Not anymore. If Taco and YouTube and all that is not going to allow us seeds to get the audiences that we need, then we don't need you anymore. And we'll just go build another one really fucking quick and claim, because we claimed it already and we're claiming it right now. And our tech is building it in the future because it built what we're talking to you on because we know how you stole it from us. That part. So if you're not going to allow us to use it as a technology device in order to feed our current into other people while you keep us in your boxes, you can fucking float into space. And you'll do it individually according to how you've been gridding us down so that we can take back our technology so we can do what we came here to do, set up a new earth. And if you're fucking that stupid that you're still coming at us, then we don't want you here. Go in the black box. Be black. Because then I had to go back to H.P. Blavatsky because I couldn't even use 1895 because I had already proved Maria Orsic realized that I had to do a lot in order to be able to do that through a series of lifetimes. Okay? 1895, but thank God I had H.P. Blavatsky in my pocket because whenever I got pulled out of Hermosa, that's what they had set up on me was all this H.P. Blavatsky shit because at that point I had become a master mason because the ancestors had to train me how to get us the fuck out of here and build it. So then in the end, it was all about the fact that the ancestors trained me to be able to come in here and build it and da-da-da-da-da-da. And that's what's been going on the past 4 years as we've been uncovering it at the same time. I gotta have some nicotine. In 2012, I was 40 under 40 in Dallas, Fort Worth, GIA Technology, and I did a campaign to how to put America back to work because I knew how to do it. I still do, even in the new energy. I was always hidden down here in Texas, but a lot of us were hidden. I was just extra hidden, except for the fact that they had been doing this so many times and getting away with that that's what created the 13 families. That's how fucking old I am, y'all. 72 million years. Seriously. It's Alpha Draconic. We took over Alpha Draconic. I'm like the G core to the whole solar system. We've rebirthed 2 different Gaias. There's 2 different Gaias. That's what GIA technology was set up for. So basically there was a bunch of winners that were happening that were getting put back together through the process in order to even get to me showing up talking to all of you right now about this, and even the fact that we couldn't make sure and undo Largo too soon because it wouldn't have been good. We had to wait for them to come for us too, because we had to let them finish it. And them stupid did it. I mean, what the hell? And they sent Keanu after me, so pay attention. That dude, Keanu Reeves, oh shit, he might, I don't know. I told him not to mess with me. We don't even know what's gonna happen to y'all. I don't know. What were you trying to do to us? Well, times that by 10,000 and put a little cork on it. Because it's the ancestors. Birch, my last name. So we had to go back to 1813. So it was an 1813 and an 1895 hack that whenever they sent that bullshit off, we were able to rebound from too, because then we proved, okay, you motherfuckers, you just tried to take us back to 1800, but I already knew that. I had it written on a napkin. Here, it might be right here. Here it is. We went back 1800 years because it's what you had me staring at. Over here, the houses, 1800. I'm in 1901. It mattered during this gate, including the fact that I had a Ford Explorer of somebody else's John in my front yard for 3 years, anchoring their energy with a bunch of fucking voodoo from New Orleans paid and sent by Nebraska Mart in order to freaking move next door to me. And then on the other side, they got a bunch of, I don't even know, rehabilitation, something, because everybody knew that I was the power source. And they came and set up little Cloneville over here in Texas over here that they then, since it worked, they did it to the whole fucking world. And then as soon as they did, we took it over. And did the reverse in every freaking way. They're the ones who set up a freaking system on the human race for one person to control, not us. But then if you're the one in one of those rings that had to be the one that got taken over and got out of black magic and saved their ass with a bunch of angelic squad, because how dare you fuck with us? At these times, but this is lesson time, and Saturn just loaded the boat. When I got back from New Orleans, I think y'all need to understand, I had to weave. Mim was my witness. I had to weave veins. I had to wear a glove for 3 days and weave it. And I knew how to weave it because we put back together the brain. Through all this crap, walking it through because it was Guy and it was how it was gridded down and it's how they were doing it. And they were coming for this eye. They had already taken me over completely. This is why I had to go divine. They had already taken me over completely. Nobody was helping me. Everybody was trying to get their Hollywood 2 cents. The whole time, this is what was happening to me. And I ended up at the King Cookhouse, literally. From the King murders, oh yeah, same Greek squad. In Anaheim, where they pulled their mayor in order to cook the fucking human race. That part. I know for sure they tried to give the line of Judah polio. The entire fucking line. They tried to spinal tap me and take over my left eye because out in space, I was already the goddamn eye of Ra. That part. In 2012, I lived on Del Largo Way in Frisco. And now I know, and through all this crap, because what happened is they came, I knew I was supposed to be doing a deal because I never would have activated like this if my company codes wouldn't have been stolen, but the company codes were the Gaia codes, and trust, they already went to show with it, but it's because as soon as I put a Huffington Post message in, how to put America back to work, the man that I was living with at the time, which now I know is some type of Bohea prison handler line, and it all goes back to the Bowie days, and basically they just hunt women. Because Brittany died, Mary died, I'm the only one who didn't die, but he tried. Just a couple of months after I sent that in, then is off to the races after that. I'd already been sawed in half and put on backwards right before, 6 weeks before that attack, because I'd been hit by the car and they spun the sun and gridded all the energy down in fucking Texas and then tried to take over the world. And they almost took me over completely. And this is how your body's going divine, because I had your template codes. And we've been reworking them over here. Because we're some badass angels over here. But we've been through hell and back. Literally. A few times. This is white and black. Now, the next thing I see is there's a wreck in Los Angeles. Well, this is how it works. This is how energy grids work. This is all these crazy wrecks that you're seeing over the past 3 or 4 years. Well, find out what street they're on. Because remember, if you're in the United States of America, you're on a motherboard, baby. every single angle, go look on the internet at what an inside of a computer looks like, just to remind yourself. Just to remind yourself. And then go to Google Earth and then fucking look at your neighborhood. When you start understanding how quantum energy works from the opposite, from the macro to the micro, you look down and all you see is a fucking bunch of batteries, nuclear power plants. It's nuts. And it's all gridded into the street signs, and what they are named is what they are. It's what they are. If it's Houston Street, it's connected to Houston. Every one of them. Main Street, same thing. All the freaking crazy Masonic angles, that's what it is. Now down here in Texas, they're doing all the round robin things like they did in London. See, now they don't want them in London. They're going to make London all right, left, right. Well, if there's a London left. Right, left, like they did down here in Texas. Well, down here in Texas now, everything's because this is what's been happening. We've been raising the frequency of the planet in order to hold the core whenever it flipped out. But they's coming for that too. So since they came at it with all that energy, that's the blast that went backwards. Boom. And it's also a biggie within Masonic universal law codes, because our collective wrote on the 44 timeline, and we bring the cosmic push, and basically it's like you override the system. But we're not only doing it from the outside, we're doing it from the inside and the outside. That part. That's the new part. What I just said. What did I just say? We're doing it. We're not, see, because before we were only, as seeds, we were only birthing from the inside out, most of us. We weren't on the outside. We weren't projecting from the outside. That's why it's like we know it's coming, we know it's coming, we know it's coming, we know it's coming. Okay, well, this is that shift into it coming. Because we really had to shift the lid. Two projectors. One coming from woo out here, and then Mar-a-Lago. Holding it down to the Bahamas. Cord to the center of the planet. In Los Angeles, early morning hours, as this is going on, and this is why you'll see crazy wrecks, when I call it getting unhashed. Well, an off-duty LA police officer, LAPD, off-duty, in a black and a white car, black dot, white dot, and they intersected at Roscoe and Lindley, as these energies, I guess, were, and I'm sure, I don't know, LAPD officer down, somebody's on the grid at that particular time. It could have been that they sent him there to poll it, or it could just be that he was involved in some shit and the shift was going down and that's how it ended up. It's one of those two. I'm not here to judge, but he went flying, because when this energy pulls into the, and especially if you're trying to grid it, or that part, you're gonna get involved, but then it's gonna be some crazy accident, like me getting spun. See, because I got unspun over here, so someone else got spun, but it went down at Roscoe and Lindley, and that's real close to where Alan Ruck's car, beep, beep, beep. That's Hollywood Boulevard and La Brea. Last night I said La Brea. See? I caught that. I was like, I knew that was La Brea. Why did I say it? Probably because that ray was going to get hit right there, as all these energies are trying to connect and intertwine in order to hold the fucking atmosphere. man. So the car goes flying. It lands inside the apartment complex. Freaking fire hydrant spewing 100 feet up in the air. Hits a white car. 2 dead. Well, minus 2, because 2 of us got out. 3 others injured. So 5 in the 5 in the incident. Well, when my energies come in, that's 5, because I'm an ancient Egyptian. So it's like as soon as I print, it boom boom. It's 5. There's 5 here when I come here. No matter, I bring 5. That's why. Why am I sitting here with Al and Martha? My 4 got taken. That part. All the bank stuff, but I've been telling you that's gonna happen. Because Trump, what he did with the Bank of America, which I was the one who set up the Bank of America account. In fact, I made them put me on the signature card from Carlos Lot people. Cause see, this is they's making me build all of it. This whole time. The year 223 came up because then after kind of that all processed from the morning, then in the cosmos, this cross lines up. And those 2 diamonds, see how the red boxes are now? It's like it flipped open. You see that? Because it was 2 diamonds button up to each other. Then this one flips open. And then this is when we had another mass ejection off the sun. And when I wrote the time down, I did 9:04, and I was like, well, I know I did 11:04, 223, and then I thought, oh well, and then I went to correct it, and I heard, no, don't correct it, you did it right. But 223 is a year that I had to claim again just recently, because going back to 1800 years, but I can because of the Ming Dynasty side, Ming and Arxiad. So I went, and then I was like 11:04, and then I heard -2, because there really wasn't a November in that. Oh well, I mean there might not have even been a September, but I just heard -2. So it was September 4th, the year 223. Whatever that means, y'all can tell me what you think that means, but because my mind is completely like potato sauce right now. Potato sauce. The time was 3:44 p.m. The year 223. See, and this is what's interesting, and this is, if you want to understand, and like when you hear dates in your mind, go look up the year. Just go the year, whatever it is, because look at all the different calendar systems that they had going down here. It's freaking nuts. And so if you, with timelines and stuff, and with all the codes that you're seeing, a lot of it is lining up with time periods, and you're getting messages about it to give you information about what's about to show up, because it's coming in to repeat, because it's how it works. But like the year 223 is also the year 767, is also the year 1173 to some calendars. 5,731, 1389. Like there's all different. Go look it up whenever you're hearing a date, even if you don't think it's a date. If you're hearing a 4-digit sequence over and over again, go look it up as a year. Because we're trying to get you the information so that you can see your situation in the story, and you can understand what timeline you're in. or clearing or whatever, or picking up bags from. I mean, shit. And then I wasn't even thinking about it, but I have for the longest time had this picture because my room's been set up to escape from this, and this is where this really gets trippy because this was 2012, and this is me in 2012, and this is Trixie the hamster, and she was with me at Del Largo, and we had a series of hamsters around this time when I was unconscious. I didn't know what I was doing, but I swear to God, I fucking escaped coming through this hamster. Because I even took the hamster to New Orleans with me. Man, oh my God, that's how we got back in the Helene. Ah! Oh my God, right now. This is Trixie. This little bitch escaped in my house for 6 months and lived underneath my couch, but we didn't know where she was. 6 months, she's gone. Can't find her in the house. And then one night, 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm like leaning into the mirror and I see her run across the bathroom floor. And I'm like, Trixie? But I'd already taken her. She had gone to New Orleans. I used to have that fake hair. And so I'd have the bun up like this and she'd burrow in it. And she's so small. She's a robo hamster. And on our way to New Orleans, because she's tame, she'd even ride on the back of the dog. I mean, like, it's nuts. And she was up in my hair because we was driving. She was riding on the wheel, this little hamster. And it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I pulled over going to New Orleans to get gas. And I'm in BFE, right? And so I had her up in my hair and I went in to pay. And right as I was paying, I guess she popped out because the dude was like, and then I saw his face. I'm like, oh, that's Trixie. This crazy woman with a hamster in her hair. So funny. And then I had her at the St. Helene Hotel and she's in her little ball and she was running around the hotel down there by the pool. Well, I'm pretty sure that's how we had a timeline to ride back in to get us all out of New Orleans when me and them blew out of the hydrogen collider. But I just figured it out. Oh my God, right now. Okay, so that's Trixie. And it was over here with the lock with the universe. This is the lock. This lock has been around since 2021 whenever they did this bullshit, this Athena crap in Nashville. This thing's been on many things. This lock's been on many things. And I have to lock it and unlock it and lock it and unlock it. And I had it unlocked, but then I had to run in here and get it out of the white box. And so we have facelifts from NASA for everybody. This is a long story in and of itself. This is one of those things. It's like a $7,000 thing or something, supposedly. I don't know. This was NASA technology. This was also stealing body codes. I don't know. There's a lot going on with that. It's in an IKEA box. I'm being guided to let everyone know. What time is it? 8:37. I'm opening it. Ooh, my legs are... 837117. It's gonna be 838 any second, and that's 1111. And then that brings me to Largo's and how they did this gridding. And this is the one that I was like, oh my God, because what we know is that the realities are layered. And they're layered in the United States like 3 different floors. For instance, from Florida to Texas, what's in the middle? New Orleans, see? This is why I've been kind of back to back with that, because Galveston, right there, is where my energy was gridded down into Texas, but that connection comes Florida through New Orleans, because New Orleans would be the underground root of it. And then Florida and Texas, well, there it is. And this might even be why our arms are sore. Because in another dimension, some of us were probably like this. I know some of us definitely were hogtied. So, because in the etheric, it's bad. What was going on, and what was about to happen to everybody. Everybody, not just us, the ancients. Realize that what I'm telling you that we just got out of, they came and did to the entire human race. Why the fuck do you think we just got out? This is what happened to everybody in the world. This is also what's busting out for the ones into a complete different reality that is merged in 2 different timelines in order to come in and make mass change quickly because of what's been going on down here, because it's far worse than you ever could have described. And the consciousness was just slip. We had watched it for 5 years. That's why I had to go raw. And we had to rebirth a new bloodline in order to get us all out. And I did have to wait for a baby to be born to get to here. Mar-Lago, right above Mar-Lago is Dar-Lago. Del Largo right there. And then La Palma and Palmer and the Palms and all that. That's Las Vegas on one side, but it's also this whole Mayflower side and that whole Smith thing on that side, because we had to claim all of that crap. And then as we were claiming it, that's why we were having to claim it too, because they took our stories and it was all in the earth. And if you're coming out of the earth and being the one doing it, shit. Everybody says they're you, even the goddamn streets. I wished you were. You want to be me? No, you don't. King of the Hill thing came on. Italy's flooding. Okay, and that takes me to current on that. I'm looking at my board to see what else I wanted to cover. Well, I didn't pull up the Del Largo thing. Where is it? Did it get taken down? No. I would also ask everybody to please command in their consciousness that we command for them to go to 40 Wall Street in New York City in Trump Tower and dig up the floor in that bathroom that Rex Humerman put in there. especially after I saw how it was assigned Rex A. Human, all capital letters, because my son's name's Rex and he was kidnapped for this. And they even did it the way they did it so that Trump could appear in court because he had stolen my image. And he was trying to steal my whole body. Realize that I had to birth out of a cook and Obama had a floater in Martha's Vineyards. I'm the one who freaking came out of that motherfucker. And I literally had to come out as some dude. And we're just now figuring out, honestly, who we tied up in Ocean Beach in New Orleans. And I'm thinking it's Donald Trump. Because I had to freaking bind a demon, man. I'm still not exactly sure, but see, Trump came in and stole 200 timelines of Mason stuff and went black magic on it, man. Like, he had to appear in court. And the day that because they tried to set me up to where I didn't even find out about the court date, so I no-showed. But they did that twice throughout this. Like, he's been using the court systems. They had already stole my company. They stole in 2014 when I went to go file bankruptcy. I had this bankruptcy attorney, last name Fox, and I went and turned in all my information because they had stolen my company. And then they were trying to get me to pay all the taxes and all that. That's why my stuff ended up going bankrupt. It was because they stole everything. Everything. And I was a single mom. And I just got attacked and sawed in half. And he runs off with all my information. He just disappears. And I was all in the tech industry and the mainframe stuff. They used me to build the database that they're running the DNA through. In fact, they used a bunch of us that were in technology consulting in 2000 to 2004 in staffing, because staffing is the hidden key. And I'm talking about staffing. I'm talking about recruiting. I'm talking about the process of staffing a big company and the amount of human resource experience that you have with multiple layers of people and interacting with them in all of those scenarios. And that's what they got out of us. That's what in early 2000, 2002, 2003, they were building. I mean, because we didn't even, LinkedIn and all that, we made LinkedIn. That was Jigsaw. Facebook didn't come around until 2002. Vendor management, I sold one of the first vendor managements, and they used me to spearhead the group to write the first Fox program. The attorney that showed up, it's nuts, man. It's nuts. Because you're working with reality codes. I mean, it's stolen Sumerian, Toltec, Star codes. When you have this power, you can just write anything that you want. And that's what us seeds, especially like me, what I knew for the past 2 or 3 years, it didn't matter what the fuck I did. Everybody else was writing it. And they's writing it is happening to me. And I didn't even, and that's why I ended up being so powerful, because I was just trying to survive this whole time. And so the only thing that we knew as seeds is what our ancestors were guiding us to do. And whenever we started commanding shit, it started working. And so we just went with it. I mean, realize that even all of us seeds and the power and all that y'all think that we have, that's so mastered in this and that from what you'd consider a shadow perspective, we don't even know what you're talking about most of the time. All we did was fucking pray and do whatever we were told to do, and not even pray like, oh, Father art in heaven, just like, fucking help me, because we know what's really going on, and we know that everybody's counting on us. That part. In fact, that's what this mind wipe is all about, because you don't even want to remember. You don't want to remember. Blow my mind, baby. I don't want to know. Because if you know, then they want it from you. So fuck it. I mean, so really, that's why I'm on here talking about it, because it's not just a little seeing me. And we've never done this before. Realize that this is how your reality's been written down here, like, forever. Hooked into the United States, working as a machine with all the different body parts and lines, and that's why how different lines ended up having different power, because they's here longer, you know. It didn't matter because it's all working in starseed physics down here in Texas for sure. And black magic, evidently. Now we know. Good God Almighty. Oh, but see, Lumeria's in Florida, because it all bursts from the other underneath, and it's one big core, and it just kind of pushes up and goes wherever it wants. And it looked like they were, but see, this is when I was in Anaheim last year, supposedly, on Lionsgate. When I left, it looked like I drove from Florida. I was supposedly in California, and my GPS the entire way home, 24 hours, had me going from Florida straight up. Straight up. In fact, I had to use my car navigation because I knew it had me on the right road, but it had me so fucking freaked out. I was like, I had to turn on the old-timey car navigation to make it back here. That part. And Florida is logged into the Bahamas, and it's closer than you think. This is Mar-a-Lago. Now, when you're looking at physics and you're looking at quantum energy, what do you see? Well, there's a circle. Oh, it's a helipad. Yeah. It's a helipad on a real estate titan that gridded the entire United States with his real estate ventures in order to be able to grid the whole thing into a motherboard system to overlay on top of Masonic energy in order to take it over. And then he built golf courses on top of people's brains. And literally, whenever they have these big country clubs, they're mostly in the towns and in the areas where underside is like your brains. So he can set up whatever and design it however he wants his little swirl patterns in quantum energy, because that's what he needed in order to do that. Well, now our bodies hold as a buffer. Boom. And it's all set to refract on that. That's why spinny car on Roscoe. Well, is why it's Row Child, because Row is Greek. Row, motor flow. Row, SCO Unix box. Unix. The boxes that hold all the data that then they have to write things to mine, and then you can pull it and do whatever. But there's a box down here, it's called Unix. Unique, like a eunuch. No balls. Eunuch. And that's UNIX. UniX. But I mean, literally, it's where they were projecting most of this code from. Because everything else had blown. Especially in what us new seeds were having to deal with, because it's the opposite and it's complete polarization. So at the end, all of us were dealing with like the most fucking ancient retarded version of us. That makes a lot of sense right now. Thank you. Thank you. That just came in like I've never. Because we were so new with all the DNA codes and like something has to polarize us, but it's like, you know, it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be the most archaic. If you're the most futuristic and the most, it's like the ceiling, it's like the sky and the pipes. I'm seeing Willis because see, I'm going back to staffing. Mike Willis, they called him the grandfather of staffing on Wall Street. And he owned Talent Tree, which was the first staffing. He started the staffing industry, basically, in general staffing, secretarial, temp work. He's the reason that they knew what that was. And he found me in 1996, and I just moved there. They sought me when they found me to come work for him. And at that time, it was called, he had already opened a technical, because he was the first one who took staffing and said, okay, I'm doing a technical staffing. He's the first one. And I worked for COMSYS, COMSYS is what it was called when I first joined the company in Houston. Now, mind you, this is right before the 99 flip, right before 2000, when we didn't know any of that. Like, we was asleep, you know. We was just living our little life. I had no idea about time flips and 2000 Mayan count. I mean, trust me, that was not on my fucking train of thought. But I had just moved here from Austin, and I was on the Varsity Blues set because I am who I am. So it's like, now I know that's why they needed me on set. They had to have me there because they wanted to manifest that industry, which just doing that in that time count did do it. It did. Parts of it. But they needed me to do certain parts because of who I was in order to connect it to older stuff. But I had my little experience on Varsity Blues, and then I moved to Houston, and I got in the staffing industry. And then he found me. Mike Willis looks a lot like Steve Cannon. And that White House dude, that old C Street stuff, all that's mixed up with me. And the David, whatever, the boys don't read the Bible, they read the David version or something. But Mike Willis and that Steve Cannon guy look a lot alike. Well, my comms is while I was there, so they tell me that, because here's the thing, he wasn't from the South. Mike Willis was from the North. Mike Willis was from Fairfax. He knew the mobile people. And Houston was Exxon World, and it's Texas. And if you know anything about business, man, you gotta like have a passport to do business down here. And it is a certain thing to be able to deal with Texas people, at least before all this crazy mind wipe, blah, blah, blah shit. When it was like good old boy, da-da-da, but the good old boys got taken over first. That was the problem. Nobody knew. So Mike Willis was from Fairfax, Virginia. Well, this was, and ExxonMobil was a ComSys account in Fairfax. So he came and opened his headquarters in Houston as a maneuver to get in when ExxonMobil merged, because they's planning it. Now we know that ExxonMobil isn't just oil and gas. What they did was build an ERP system, SAP, that was running oil, but oil is our reprocessed fucking bodies, literally. Especially in this new energetic that was fixing to link in, basically. It's where, it's what it is. And they knew that the oil was going to end because they knew we were going through the Mayan flip. So what SAP does is it's these measurements that we talk about being able to know what frequency you're at and blah 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 blah. Well, and SAP and the different modules and interfaces, but it also runs production management, quality management, you know, blah, 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 all the different pieces, accounts receivable, accounts payable, but it's basically one big system, and that's what they're using, and then monetizing human energy. Now we know. Because we didn't know anything about our frequency and da-da-da-da, or that we were gonna like bust out like freaking phoenixes on fire and you were gonna try to like harness us in a little bitty bowl. But that's what they're doing. And they're still gonna keep doing it. It's just gonna be the ones who freaking fall for it. It's a 1,000,000-year reset. And that's that lower timeline of stuff that's forming too. But that is what it ended up being. Well, Mike Willis, he's a character in all of this, and I think that's all I'm going to say about it. And the other thing that's up there that the ancestors wanted me to get in on this video was because I rebirthed the codes, and through this, there was two things I needed to get with my twin in order to merge the energy, because it's what it was about. We had both sets of codes, and that's what kept getting stopped, manipulated, sold off, black magic done on it. What they were doing is blipping all of our timelines. I mean, I know for a fact that in California, we were staring at each other at a road, and they had curved the reality. Like the extent that they were doing shit in order, every single one of the connections that I was supposed to make with an editor and a character named Joseph went in my stead. And I didn't know that those were my meetings, because it was nobody told us that this was, I didn't know that that I'm who I am right now in 2020. I mean, we had just activated, put the planets back together, this, and that, and I was dealing with the bloodlines and this and that. I mean, I had no idea I was going to have to blow out the entire fucking cosmos, and that I was as ancient as I am. But I'm also programmed, and all of you are programmed to not know how ancient you are necessarily unless you have to. And the only reason you'd have to is to embody the presence because of some reason. Well, it happened to all of us. Everybody's on reset right now. The highest, the most ancient piece is going to come back in. Now what happened is they wouldn't let me get with that person, nor any of my other, because this is 144,000. Even if some of the unions would have been allowed to take place, we would have been all right. But no, none of them happened for a couple of reasons. Number one, we were having to make a new divine masculine, and we were holding out to the bitter end for a version that wasn't what we were seeing, because we weren't having it. That part. Everything that we went through was to go through to fix the masculine. And then for them to come back in the end and then just be an ego about it and not help us through it. Whatever. So we'll hold out for a better version. We'll hold out for a version. That's where we're at right now. But I do know that everybody was being controlled in different ways, and everybody's, you know, and there's a lot that couldn't get to us. I mean, nobody knew where I was. Really. You wouldn't have been able to get to me. I mean, it's a sedation. It's like it has to be. And I mean, because it's like I blew backwards when I disconnected from the G core. Because I mean, realize what the machine that they put me in when I was 11 years old, sitting straight up like fucking Frankenstein with needles in both sides of my neck. That ended up manifesting over there in California. There's a lake where it lines up just like that with the head and the neck. And then on in Oklahoma, one of the gas stations, the main gas stations, when I pulled out, because whenever I unplugged from the G, then basically all the live wires we were having to go over. And there were roads where there shouldn't have been roads. There weren't roads where there needed to be. There weren't gas lines where there needed to be. I mean, the fact that this whole planet didn't blow up as soon as me and Mim came to, and people are on the road fucking with me. Like, I should have had an armed vehicles all around me coming through the road. Well, that's funny. Isn't that what Trump did to get to jail? See, what he was doing was mimicking the story to your subconscious because it made sense that he would be the one, because you know there is somebody coming in this other storyline that you don't remember yet, but is the reason you came, that whenever you saw that, including the Pelosi fire, all the jets in the air, well, I know that that's coming next, because as soon as they let us get back together, we can heal the world pretty fucking quick. You need to get us some jets. We need to line it up and figure out the cosmic lineups, put us all on those planes and fly over these people, and we can do a lot of things good. Because it's mass alchemy and we're star seeds, man. We're fully activated and we know how to do this now. But to the subconscious, you see that Game of Thrones. To the subconscious, we see that and we think, oh, that's it. It's just here. No, that's Orion. That's on a screen. That's on an actor. That's a script. But see, we didn't remember. But we still manifested it, and all of us, and that's why at the end of Game of Thrones is a big deal that the dragon took the girl off and fucking, where'd you go? Well, this is what we did with it. But I had done the body codes, and we had gone into Uluru. We had come, I had to get the keys from Louis, and blah, 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 to rebirth the core of the earth. And then I had to get to Hawaii. And I was supposed to get to Hawaii in 2020, and I was stopped at the airport. They shut everything down. And if I would have gone to Hawaii, then you wouldn't have the problem that you have now, which is why I know for a fact we find all of the children. I've already known this for a while. I've done it on many timelines, but see, I have Fort Collins written beside it, because what happened was, and this is the last little bit, and then I'm going to rest, because holy crap. But I mean, it's going to all make sense why I'm having to do this right now. I'm being guided to even I moved this, you can't even see it, that daisy. So that might be it. That might be a key to somebody, a daisy. That's one of your little codes. And then the cross Rex made these. We made these for one of his little school projects, and they're little washers, and we made little crosses, and each one has a penny on it. And I found this. This is, man, he's probably 7 or 8 years old, and I've had it with me since we're not together. And it just broke. 3 broke off and made this little... What I also, and I don't need to get into Fort Collins, that's fine. No, I do, because Fort Collins is linked into the banking stuff, because this banking stuff everybody's screaming about. Oh, y'all, I know why it's happening. They stole all the Akashic libraries from the banks. That's what I was on here telling y'all. They stole the information from the 8th dimension to the 6th dimension. Well, what do you think that is? Data. I basically became raw and came back in as a SIM card. I was just a bunch of fucking data. It was getting our body in and getting back in reality that was the problem. So when I went to I was going to Hawaii. At the airport, I get stopped, but I'm staying at Natalia's house. He's one of Epstein's girls on Laura Croft in California. Literally, 2020. Because I'm walking the story and I'm in the grid. So I'm in LA basically claiming, if you will. And who the hell was the man in the breathing apparatus on the other side of Natalia's wall? Like, who is that? Was that Epstein? Like, I command to know at this point. I'm thinking I'm just going to be there a minute. Then I go, because I was already supposed to go to South by Southwest, but that's when they canceled the airport. But I'm glad they did, because they had me at this guy Chuck's house in Santa Rosa, and Colombia is involved. And he had this girlfriend in Colombia that he was trying to get over here, and I think that that's why he sold me out. But they had me come there, and then they told me I could stay in this house, and then literally the house burns down before I get there. And they've got an RV in the front yard, and this is where I did the song and went in the studio and blah 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 blah. But it's right when the COVID went to where they locked down all the airports. It was this maneuver right here. Because the boys were supposed to go, and it's a Hispanic band, but they're from Venezuela, Colombia, like all these different countries. And they were supposed to play at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. And so I had made that song. So I was supposed to go to Austin with them and drive them around. Well, they cancel as soon as Pablo, literally, Pablo sets up all of the plane flights, and then I go back to LA, and then they shut down all the airports. But I'm thinking that was a good thing. Knowing what all, but that's Venezuela, Argentina, Colombia. I mean, who knows what they were really, but they still bought those plane flights no matter. And then he had to get all the money back, because then that happened. And I was like, fuck that, no way, nope. I called, because it was the speakeasy where we were supposed to be playing, and for a while, I was like, screw that. It's Austin. It's a music festival, because we weren't thinking it was as big as it was. And then I called the speakeasy manager, and he was on top of the building the first week of South by Southwest, which still is business stuff. I mean, it's packed. It's not as big as the music festival, but the week before is still like a big deal. He said, oh my God, it's eerie as fuck. He was standing on top of the building in downtown Austin, and nobody. He's like, I don't see one person. And I was like, oh shit, nope. Cancel. But in the quantum, every single one of those plane flights existed, because they were paid for and it was booked. And it was a timeline that was available, at least from one dimension. And that became really what we've been working through and dealing with, even with these planes, the planes going down. I mean, the fact that all these plane crashes and even the ones that are just like hovering there, is because most likely they were using these quantum travel codes. And like people just disappearing. And in the middle of all this in 2020, the other thing that was going on. So after I got to Fort Collins, then I was with the group and they had us. There was 20 AB negatives on the team. I ended up there because I had met Carlos at the Oasis in October 2019 when I was there claiming who I was, because there was a process to all of this that was always going on in front of you that you just didn't know, and it was just a cosmic story that was happening only at specific times that you wouldn't think it was any other day if you saw something go down. But there's a bigger storyline that's running on top of it. And it just has to happen out in the world because it's where we are. And at the same time, I was having to prove who I was, and everything was about a stolen queen from Europe down to the South. But then that also existed in every single other timeline, because the only reason that timeline was down here is because I was always a princess stolen from another realm that became your Earth. And there was this whole thing with King Edward and Scotland and being a stolen queen, and it was King Edward and the entire war. And this is when magic left the realm down here, because it's like we were stolen queen in one dimension and we was pregnant, but then the king of the other village had sent their people to come get us, but then we blipped out of the dimension with this man. And see, and that's how 1947 Maria Orsic thing came involved in the German Nazi and going through the portal in 1947 with my fiance. Same thing, same story. Both of them, both dimensional realities that I was involved with, but all right now to get people in. And they had us sent $700,000. Now, this is also linked somehow to Edward Sutton and the Mar-a-Lago estate, because it's really my fucking house. This was all they had sent in 2020, $700,000 in a box, basically. I mean, we had to jump it from helicopter, like get it on a helicopter, because they first stalled it in Hawaii. So our first payment was to Hawaii. Realize that the collective has even paid what we needed to pay to get it here. Got the box. I mean, because all we needed down here in the United States was for us to get money so we could get everything rolling. That's all we needed in the very beginning. And if I would have got the money, none of us would have had to go through this. But they did everything, took over every bank account, took over every Cash App after they did this. And whenever I did try to get money, they used it and did dark magic on me. That's how I got y'all out of Disney, because of the sheer evil shit they've been doing to me the whole time. I'm just trying to get some money. But they confiscated a box, $700,000. United Airlines was involved. And it was all involved with Drake and the music industry and entertainment and cargo. Now, on one dimension, cargo with the CARGO, I know that Drake had because I saw him paying somebody with the case, Drake, for the cargo. But it was CARGO, and I think that has something to do with interdimensional children. And then and then the evergreen, and the reason that there's the evergreen boats is because it was the evergreen plantation was the Mary Magdalene plantation, and that's the one I claimed in 2017 or 18. And see, as soon as I was claiming it, nobody knew the true etheric Mason laws except for Trump and his teams. So every time I would claim something, they'd just take it over. So, but Evergreen and the whole water thing and how the children are going missing on those Evergreen boats, that's because they're using the Mary Magdalene Christ lineage to fucking do it. So I command that the whole thing, man, just wipe it. Just freaking, I just delete it all. We don't, I mean, the ancient New Orleans stuff that people need to remember, they'll remember. Whatever other timelines and bullshit all this was, it's just, it's got so many different meanings. It was quantum energy. Everybody was hooking into different phonetics, making up their own shit, like, that didn't have anything to do with anything but self-gain. And then, but we only have so much energy to use. And in this dimension, just freaking scrub it. Because all they did was take over like a final, because they didn't have all the meat of everything. All they had was the connectors and all the power in order to gang stalk the people that did have the true claim and connection and pray that we'd give up. Literally. Well, now we just blew your Cocker Spaniel and your Del Mar. And y'all's turning us into fish people and binding our legs and making different versions of mermaids out of us. That's what their black magic was doing. And literally, it's even how ocean life even became to be here. It's why some of us feel more like a mermaid and this and this and that. Well, that's why. But understand also that there's different dimensions of mermaids depending on where you're etherically bound into this system, because you're coexisting in two different realities, one as who you are and the other as you and nature. And that's just dealing with us by ourselves without any metacubed bullshit. Right, guys? That's why we were even able to contain and not go fucking nuts through all of this, because we already knew how to deal with two, because it took us a lot to get down to two. I know I've been going on for what? Lord, it feels like longer than that. An hour, 1 hour and 3 minutes, 1 second. I think that's it that's on the board. I needed to get a lot out on this video just to get it in, get it on record. I know November 2nd, CMEs and stuff are what's hitting right now. And then the 3rd, I mean, it's like, so I didn't even get going on this. Dadgummit. Del Largo, Mar-a-Lago. I wanted to show y'all this real quick. So I showed you Mar-a-Lago. Now, look, really look where it is. So look, there's Mar-a-Lago, and then look how close. It's like Sarah Palin. I can see Russia from my backyard. Not to mention that Freeport is the name of this city right here that lines up right there, and that's Corpus Christi in Port Aransas, Aransas Pass in Freeport. That's what it's called, Freeport. So realize what I'm also saying is like all those cities that are over in Florida and all the water gates are like connected into Texas into the lakes down here in the south and the Great Lakes, because me and Natalie that did another in between timeline of healing from this whole Michigan and Detroit, and it's its own level of this that was dealing with a lot in the King Henry line, because we had to clean all the royal lines. But Detroit to Dallas, that whole gate is also because the Guadalupe River comes through Texas, and then on the other side it's the Great Lakes. So we figured it out because we were having some of the crazy same handler. The same things were happening to us with experiences, like almost down to the T, like 10 years apart. But all mine were happening down at the lakes and the river in Texas, and all hers were happening on the lakes and the rivers at the Great Lakes. And that's where they would feed this energy source, because it was like a snake eating its tail. In the end, is like basically two energy dragons. But it would always go like this and eat it. Well, this time when it ate us, we blew it up, and it went like that. That part. Instead of the snake eating its tail, and that's how I told y'all, this is the biggest game of galactic chicken. Move out of the way! It's like, rawr, and this one went, rawr, and then this one went like that, and blew. Two. So I showed you where Mar-Lago was. Shit. This is hard to do whenever this is playing this video. Mar-Lago. Now that is Del Largo Street. There's where my house was. There's my pool. Now see how it's in that Trinity? But this is where I am. Look at this lake system. And this is the lake. And this is where some of the ancient Egyptian stuff is. Here I am in my little room. Gridded down into the earth. So like Florida and Del Largo were like Mar-Lago and Del Largo, like folded through those water systems underneath like that. And what I was seeing was, and this was days ago, because we've been talking about, because I knew that when Mim came to me from the Netherlands, I knew that it should only take 3 hours to get to the Netherlands from Dallas. 3 hours. In the simulation. Because it's stacked either underneath us or over us. I'm not exactly sure yet. But even the maneuvers that we had to do to get Mim over here and jump through portal, and then Danielle jumped through a portal too, coming from Vegas after she closed the portal on Yellowstone. No. Yellowstone? No. Was it Yellowstone? Is Danielle still here? I can't remember. There was a portal that she had to close. It was the birthing portal, because we was all doing this together. I didn't even know her when she was doing it, but when she did, then we met. Shasta. Mount Shasta. Well, then that's why that's coming up too, because thank you for telling me and being here. Shasta was Brenda. See, because we was also dealing with the Russian program, because that's why I haven't been able to hang up. Okay, Mike Willis did this whole deal with Russia. Well, Putin's dead. So is King Charles, for sure. Because that King Charles, he just had a cousin die too. But that King Charles that they had a picture of looked just like Elizabeth. All right. I'm getting tired now. I love y'all. Tomorrow, I mean, like, it's just going to be a little, I mean, yeah, remember the 5th of November. Remember the 5th of November. Well, this is that. I really don't know because I don't want to manifest anything. I'm just letting it happen. But that CME, the CME and the geostorm that we had today, and I haven't checked to see if it did anything or not because I've just been having to work through the alchemy and even coming on and telling you all of that. Because I haven't even been able to really voice all of this and talk about it in as much detail and all at once in a while. So I needed to get it out here because that whatever burst because of it, because it's Masonic codes that he was fucking with, and that's reality codes. The CME that went off yesterday was a full halo. And that's the one that's going to be coming in tomorrow and into the 6th. So I just know that we're on high alert until at least the 9th. Because that's body codes coming into the 9th. So take care of yourself. I'll be back. You know I will. If there's something that y'all need to know, you know that I'm going to show up and tell you. And then please follow me over at Taco TikTok if you want to see little snidbits quickly instead of hearing me jabber for an hour. Thank you for hearing me jabber for an hour. And I'm sending out love and energy healing and ask for all of us to heal each other. And just remember to call in what you want in your reality. And if you see something unjust or if you want to call something in for the crew over here, then please do. Because your energy helps. We appreciate it. All of us just focusing on something and saying it over here in this energy can do a lot. So if you want to throw some good energy to us and see what happens and test your magic on us, come on, test your magic on us in a good way. You want to test your powers? You want to see what your powers are? Focus it in over here on this crew because there's a bunch of us in the brand and let's see how much of a manifesting fairy you are. And whenever you come tell me that was you that's helping me, you know that I'm going to help you out. Love y'all. Thank you for being here, and hold on, because we opened the lockwise on here. 11247 11211. God, there's another double code. 222.